Hi there. I just wanted to give you some verbal feedback on your wonderful and thoughtful discussion board posts for the second discussion board. Um, I just wrote things down as I saw them and thought of them, so they're in no particular order. First of all, I loved all your thought about the silent phase. And this is such an important component of teaching our English learners. Um, and as you noted so well, we just cannot push our students who are in that silent phase. I know of someone who taught little children, and she really expected every child, including the English learners, to come in and say, "Good morning, Mrs. So and so." But she quickly learned that even this requirement was just too much for some of those children who are in the silent phase. So we just have to trust that there is so much receptive language coming in, pouring in, and that our students are making important and key connections. I tend to think of that silent phase as being like a sponge where everything is getting soaked in. And so I know as teachers, we like to have feedback from our students. That's our bread and butter, right? But it's so important to allow those children time, those students time to just process. And as you noted, so much of that silent phase, is dependent too on personality. It's dependent on culture. And in some cultures, as you noted, even females may be required or expected to act in a different way than the males. And that's something we need to be cognizant of and consider as our students are in the silent phase. As some of you noted, it's so interesting because I just had a conversation with someone about this. Best practices are best practices for everyone. And so many times, what early elementary school teachers do day in and day out, using lots of comprehensible input, varying their voice tone, using lots of gestures and pictures and acting out, those are best practices for all of our students. I also teach some workshops at another university in a professional school in the state of Maryland for English learners who are in the professional program there. And they're in their late 20s, early 30s. And they always say that when their professors can make it more fun and interactive, when they can use facial expressions and voice tone, it makes such a difference. So all of those key components are important. And usually our English learners are far more comfortable interacting in small groups. And that's why we really encourage cooperative learning. And that recess time is so important. As some of you will notice in our assessments on that listening assessment, we definitely want to key in on what's happening during those times in the cafeteria and at recess. Someone also mentioned the tubes. I just go to Home Depot and I get some plumbing things. I put them together. I'll take a picture of it. I'm going to my office tomorrow when I have one in my office, and I'll upload it. And I let students listen to themselves. And of course, going back to that early elementary school, rhyming is so important. And that's important even in our middle schools and high schools, because that's part of that phonological awareness that is so key for literacy development in English. And so doing a lot of singing can really help that. Let's see. Some of you also talked about culture, including, the gender and the not looking, in some cultures, not looking an adult in the eyes is expected and the norm. When I was in Tibet, showing a sign of respect is sticking out one's tongue. And so, it's different all over the world, and we have to embrace that and say, hey, that is really something I did not know before. And that's why Google is our friend when we have students from all sorts of different countries and cultures. Many of you noted students with learning issues, and this is something that it's far beyond this class, and it's certainly a developing field. How can we tell when it's an English language issue and when it's a learning issue? And those are things we need to consider, certainly. I want to end by talking about idioms and words and homophones and such, because those can be so confusing for everyone, not just English learners. Just take a minute. Think about the word run. How many meanings for the word run can you come up with? I'm going to give you a few seconds. Okay, well, we've certainly got running. We've got run in a stocking. We've got run a red light. We've got make a home run. We've got run for office. We've got, have the runs. Do you know that there are over 95 meanings for run in the English language? This is something that can make learning English so challenging. So, I look forward to reading your next posts. If you have any questions on those wordless picture books, just let me know. Thank you.